What's good? We back. It's your boy CJ Goodfella back with the boxing clinic. One time for the one time. Shout out to the LDBC. And just watched Bernard Hopkins Breakfast Club interview, and I see a lot of people in the LDBC, YTBC, whatever you want to call it. Depends on what they represent. Talking about it, saying Bernard was hating on Floyd Mayweather, saying 7-8 sports, call him a boot looking coon or some shit like that. That shit was funny. Shout out to 787 Sports, and shout out to Mr. IOBTA Boxing Corray. Watch this video. I hadn't seen the Breakfast Club interview. Most of them do pop up my personal subscription, and I checked it out, and pretty much it was some hating ass shit, man. I can't even defend that shit. Bernard Hopkins was one of my boxing heroes coming up early 2000s, when I really started independently getting into boxing, doing it, and watching it, become a student of the sport. And one thing you find out in the amateur level, and a couple amateur young guys that I still speak to, a lot of them dudes don't have any interest into professional sports, professional boxing. They don't even give a shit. They just love to do boxing. They just do a boxing and amateur things. And fast forward in this interview, to break it down is, he said he got most of his game from the Nation of Islam. Okay, the Nation of Islam, I have a few people that I know that follow them and follow their religious study. No religious issues with them or the Quran or anything like that. But one thing that they based on is uplifting your brother. Not having that crab in the barrel mentality, and that's the one thing black people in America have. They don't want to see you make it if they can't make it, or if you're doing better than them. They never want to see you do better than them. And guarantee, a lot of the motherfuckers out here showing love to you, but they hating on you on the low. Real shit. And Bernard Hopkins, basically, that's what he did in that segment of the interview. Basically, he goes on and says that, I think Charlamagne the Guy, shout out to him, very another intelligent brother. He goes on and says, you don't think Floyd's a good businessman. I'm paraphrasing here. And Bernard said, nah, would you call him a businessman or something like that? I'm pretty much paraphrasing. But businessman, I think Al Heyman handles all his business. Now, look here. If he's so smart and he's spitting all this knowledge, and he didn't even know how Forbes, get to what your net worth is with his stupid ass. But, excuse me. He said, Al Heyman handles his business. Well, if you look over the course of history and, other ethnicities doing business, like the Facebook, when it was first called, now it's called the Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg knew how to do the code and set up the Facebook and do all that, get it rolling. He didn't have the means of the finances to keep the servers rolling and do all this stuff and be able to go out to California and expand without his friend Eduardo. He was the money man. He was the dude that had all the. He had some coding skills as well, but he was the dude that really was business. Okay, without him, Zuckerberg wouldn't go nowhere, and without Zuckerberg, Eduardo wouldn't have went anywhere. Okay, not getting into the whole thing. Point is, got guys that do like Bill Gates that do Microsoft. Steve Jobs. These guys have ideas and have the ideas, but you need guys with business that's business savvy, that's able to put your idea in motion and produce millions and millions of your product or your idea. Bernard Hopkins, I guess, didn't know that. He says that him and George Foreman are only the two boxers in the last 100 years or ever to be able to manage themselves and be their own manager in boxing. Okay, good and fine and dandy. George Foreman is like almost in the same tier as Magic Johnson as a businessman. He mentioned how his idol was Magic Johnson to do what he did in business. Cool, But do you not know, though, that you need somebody in business? People like Donald Trump, all those people, they have other people who go out here and handle the business for them. And that's what Al Heyman does, if you don't know. He orchestrated, Floyd Mayweather's deal out of Top Rank without having a long layoff like Mikey Garcia, almost Chavez Jr. got put on the shelf in a minute. He was able to orchestrate that deal out of Top Rank. You feel what I'm saying? Him and Floyd Mayweather are business partners. He's a manager advisor. Technically, he can't be a part of Mayweather Promotions or the money team, whatever they want to call it, because he's a manager. He would be violating the Muhammad Ali Act. He already almost been sued on that a couple times. So he handles the business. So Bernard goes on and say, yeah, I'm one of the best business dudes in boxing. But at the end of the day, Floyd owns his own company. You don't own Golden Boy. You don't have a majority shares in Golden Boy. You don't have it. You a partner with Oscar, but you still answer to Oscar. Floyd consults with Al. He doesn't answer to Al, though. Then he goes on and talks about how he's not in the room and hashing out the numbers and the deals and all that shit. Who gives a fuck? You is this great businessman. You say you got 50 properties throughout Philly, whatever, out the neighborhoods of Philly, and you doing this and you doing that. But when have you ever, fought for $100, $200, $300, $400 million? Regardless who helped you get to that mark. Whatever, you haven't fought for that? Absolutely not. Forbes had you at $40 million. You was on camera saying, I wish I had that $40 million. So you don't even have $40 million according if you was serious. So why does he have to, pull down Floyd and then have to stump on the idea of Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather fighting? I don't get it. Because in the same breath, this is my whole crusade against this. Bob Arum and Oscar De La Hoya lobbied for Conor McGregor to fight two of their star pupils. Manny Pacquiao and Canelo Alvarez. Okay? Bob Arum didn't even hate. He said, I know what it is. I keep it moving. Bob Arum not even going to try to fight it no more. Oscar's still trying to compete with this dude. He's trying to hate on him. For what reason? The whole Golden Boy thing. You was on camera on Fight Hub, I think it is, saying that Canelo Alvarez, he open to doing Canelo Alvarez versus Conor McGregor if Floyd Mayweather fought, the Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor thing fell out. All of a sudden, Floyd, secures the bag. He secures the fight. Alert. Shout out the future. And then you start hating because it's competition. It's going to take away from what you eating on the table. You keep saying, I hope the fight is good for boxing. I hope it's a good fight. Yeah. But then you still fucking hating. So at the end of the day, man, he went on the Breakfast Club, Bernard Hopkins. He spit some knowledge. He tried to, throw some flashy words and talk all fast. That shit don't get past a real motherfucker with street knowledge or a real nigga with any type of knowledge. If you this good of a businessman, why you not as successful or more successful as George Foreman out the ring, Floyd Mayweather, and all those other guys? You had to fight till you was 52 years old and saying, I took Joe Smith Jr. If they paid me $7 million, you think I'm going to leave it on the table? But you hating on Floyd Mayweather. They after him, potentially, if all the numbers hit right, he can make $400 million. So you want him to leave $400 million for the betterment of the sport that he gave his whole entire life to, that he deserved this reward? He deserved this reward. He put a lot on the line. He put himself in position. Now, a lot of fighters can do that. So you have to go on the Breakfast Club and build up how Canelo and Triple G is a better fight and put down that fight. That just tells me that fight is a bigger threat to y'all because y'all going out your way speaking on it. Do like Tom Laffer said. You said both events going to do good. Let the best dude win. We done with it. Y'all going out your way to throw dirt on another man's sport. And you working for a Mexican. This dude is working with another brother. A brother that graduated from Harvard, Al Heyman. And of course, Bernard Hopkins, he defied all the odds. Going out of prison, being able to make millions and millions of dollars, losing his first pro fight, coming back and, doing all this stuff. Then he goes on and says, I think Danny Jacobs lost, but, good hard fight. Only reason you saying you think Danny Jacobs lost is a simple fact that it benefits you and Canelo Alvarez. You say, yeah, I want Canelo to win. I promote Canelo, but it's a dangerous fight, and you trying to sell this bullshit. But you the same guy, I'm in on this, that cried about the 2 Jermaine Taylor losses, that faked the shoulder injury versus Chad Dawson, who made an excuse live on the Breakfast Club about why he lost to Joe Smith Jr. At the end of the day, dude, Bernard Hopkins is, still one of my boxing heroes. You can't erase what he did. But at the end of the day, dude, he's an excuse-making, crab in the barrel, hating motherfucker at the end of the day, like some of these other hating-ass YouTube channels we spoke on earlier. But at the end of the day, though, still got love for the brother. Just a crab in a barrel mentality. But he did talk about a lot of great other things. I'm going to leave a link in the description. Talked about Adrian Broner and how this is his last chance. And spoke on a number of things. It was a great interview other than a small portion of hatred towards Floyd Mayweather Jr. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to the Boxing Clinic. We doing good things, Despite the hate out there from the Diplomat 97 fuck boy, we doing it. We gone.